Hello there, and welcome back to the Zero Credentials F1 podcast, where we're here to discuss what was a pretty wild and exciting Dutch Grand Prix. Nelly, I thought we'd start this video by just posing a few questions from things that came up in the race. I'll just go through a list that I prepared, and is the championship over? That's number one. Is Isack Hadjar the next big thing? What have the stewards been smoking?
Yeah.
And number four, have Ferrari hit rock bottom? I thought that's a good place to get
Lots
this.
to talk about there.
Yeah, lots to talk about. We'll go through everything. We'll cover everyone, notable mentions, that kind of thing. So let's go. Yeah, I thought it was a fairly fantastic race, actually.
It was a smasher, wasn't it? Beauty.
It was, yeah. I'm gonna kill the music because I want to. I've got a bit of information that came in. I got a bit of an exclusive here from
breaking news
from during the last few laps of the race, and I've been sent something, and this is it here.
Love it. Love it.
So for the people who are not on YouTube and they're listening on the audio podcast, firstly, thank you very much for that. Big fans of the podcast listeners. But what we have here is a caricature AI created drawing of Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc sitting on a couple of deck chairs on the sand dunes watching the race towards the end, which is basically what happened, isn't it?
Pretty much. None of the commentary team mentioned drew the parallel with Alonso. I was surprised because that is the classic one of somebody chilling in the middle of a race.
Yeah.
That was my favourite one, but they were drawing parallels with other people. But yeah, tough race for the boys. Yeah,
it was. That image of Charles just hanging out on the dunes, I just thought it was hilarious. It was. And he's just sitting in those like camping chairs. The marshals obviously
sorting out his PR team, just thinking, right, I'll sit here and look introspective for the next 20 minutes, and see if I get loads of shots for my fan profiles and things like that. But yeah,
he's sitting there.
Not a nice way to end a race.
He's just getting his anger out of the way because he knows by the time he's got to the paddock, the Ferrari censorship machine.
Yeah,
will have gone into full flow and snips whatever he had to say out of him.
Don't you dare say anything negative. Don't you fucking dare. You little shit. You little Monegasque shite. It was you, not the car. It was you.
And sure enough, by the time he was getting interviewed, he was like, "Oh yeah, like the pit stop was all right. Antonelli was just maybe he was trying to be aggressive like I had been, but yeah. It's proper funny."
Yeah, it's interesting how 15 minutes of chill time can completely change your perspective on anything. When you're freshly getting out the motor and want to kill somebody, it's they have to grab you by the collar pretty quick.
Yeah, I thought it was quite funny. Yeah, overall though, what did you think? I really
There's just so much to talk about. I mean, in terms of the race in itself, people fell into a flow, but it was just characterised by quite a few safety cars and incidents, which just kept it spicy. There was no 10 minutes where it was just a parade.
It was good, wasn't it? Because it's generally a track that was hard to overtake on, and that was also the case yesterday. But it still just had loads of stuff going on. I'm not quite sure where to start, to be honest. Maybe we should just start with Oscar Piastri, because we've been criticised for not talking about him enough, because we're British fans talking about British drivers.
Imagine that.
He's an Australian bad guy. But I mean, should we talk about McLaren and Oscar?
Let's do it.
First?
Let's do it. I mean, McLaren, a great weekend in general. Were a country mile ahead of the field and could easily turn it on and off as they saw fit. Oscar, classic autistic robot performance from start to finish. maintained some space, got ahead, seemed quite comfortable there. When Lando did try and respond, he seemed to just turn it up a little bit. But in the final, I thought we were going to be left with the final 10 laps of a bit of action when everyone had got onto new boots with the safety car. Yeah. I'm not necessarily criticising McLaren here because I don't know what tyres they had, but seeing as the rest of the team, the rest of the teams on the grid seem to throw a Hail Mary and don't all go on softs. I don't know whether McLaren had any softs left, but you'd have thought that they'd at least have had some scrubs. Did they put them both on hards just to be fair, just to be equitable? Or could they have gone a little bit more aggressive and let us see some racing? Don't know.
I think that seems to be part of the papaya rules thing, doesn't it? Is that they will be treated equally in terms of what tyres strategy they run and what, in terms of undercutting and things like that. That seems like it is part of papaya rules, and that Lando isn't going to be allowed to do a different tyre strategy mid-race to try and jump Oscar in that sense. I think that's fair enough. I mean, one of the things I saw in the post-race interviews is that Lando was sort of saying, I mean, he was talking about himself, but he was saying that being able to keep that close to somebody at Zandvoort shows that you've got pace. And he clearly had better pace, I think, than Oscar, but it all came down to Oscar getting that pole position, didn't it?
Yeah.
Stepping up at the exact moment that it was required.
By 12 thousandths of a second. That was absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible.
That's literally the margin, isn't it, that it's coming down to? Yeah,
and it's... there was the prospect of some good racing there, but I mean, Oscar is just super consistent and super chilled, and that's translating into a very controlled race format. I mean, I know Lando had a few chances maybe to get up close to him. He had to double stack twice, I think, given the safety cars that they had. So that sort of prejudiced him in doing things. He just didn't have a chance. There was so many different things going on, whether it was the safety cars or a little bit of rain coming on, and just trying to hold off Max in the early stages. That cost him a fair bit in the early stages just to try and get Max back. But when he did it very, very coolly and smoothly.
I think did we have 3 safety cars? So and Oscar was at the front for each one of those and managed the safety car almost perfectly every single time. He basically did nothing wrong. It was a perfect race, I think.
He gave nobody a chance.
There was loads of action. He was extending a lead on everybody else apart from Lando. But McLaren were controlled at the front. Oscar was controlled. And even if they had been able to battle in the last few laps, if Lando's car hadn't broken down, I don't think he would have got past. I don't think there was because they were talking about needing a pace differential of about 8 tenths to a second in order to overtake.
They had that over the rest of the field for a 70-second lap, which is incredible. Absolutely. But not against each other. I mean, in terms of overtaking, he could have tried to do a Charles Leclerc, which doing a Charles Leclerc. I mean, I winced at that one. I thought, I do want to come on to that, but wow.
I want to just briefly answer the question.
Yeah.
About that I asked at the start is does this mean the championship's over? What, like, because it personally I don't think it has, because there's plenty of racing left, but it's certainly taken a bit of a sting out of the tail, hasn't it? A bit of excitement out of the scenario.
That was absolutely my immediate reaction, and there was an interesting stat that had Lando overtaken Oscar in the race, the points difference would have been 2 in favour of Oscar moving into the next rounds. But it's actually now 32 it's 32, I think, or 34. It's a significant amount, but let's face it, they're going to be first or second or thereabouts probably for the rest of the season. So there's 63 point, assuming first and second, 25 for first, 18 for second. There's a 7-point differential per race, assuming first and second, and that means there's 63 points up for grabs over the next 5 rounds between them, or a gap of that. And Lando can claw it back. He can't. He has the luxury of having a few seconds, but he largely needs to win the rest of the races.
Yeah, I think though I was looking at one stat. I hadn't done the maths myself, but there was, if he comes first in every single race and Oscar came second, there's
He'll
still
win.
enough. He'll still win.
Yeah.
What? I mean, I don't think he can do that though. I think Oscar's too good to allow that to happen, and they've been ebbing and flowing all the way through. The only thing is that I think Lando still struggles mentally a little bit compared to Oscar. But maybe now this has relieved a little bit of pressure.
Well, I was thinking that will he now do what we like Lando to do and have the propensity to send it a bit more and to take a few more chances, because it is a bit of a gulf in the final few races, and he can't really settle for second and say, oh, well, I'll claw it back later. He really has to go for it, and that actually could bring some more spice into the end of the season. I mean, had it gone the way we'd sort of anticipated, it'd be swinging back and forth between now and the end of the season as one takes first and second, as they take first and second and reverse it. And then as Brits, we'd hope Lando would nick it close to the end. But actually, does this give him a chance to sort of liberate himself and say, right, I really have to go for it. I really have to send it. We can't just run around in formation and hope that the team sorts us out, or let's make qualifying the determining factor for the season, because that's what it was looking like it was boiling down to, whoever wins in qualifying. So, maybe that just gives him a little bit of a boost to go for it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's the case. But a couple of issues is that the tracks where Oscar was clearly slower than Lando last year, he's now won all of those races.
Yeah.
I think also Lando has now had 2 DNFs in Canada and in Holland. So one of them was Lando's fault in Canada, and one was bad luck. So he's made a mistake and he's had some bad luck. And so far, Oscar hasn't had either of those things happen.
I mean,
I think for the championship to spin back round, that needs to swing back in Lando's favour. So Oscar, he either needs to make a mistake or a bit of bad luck needs to go against him.
And this is it, and Lando can't really rely on mistakes when it comes to Oscar, as we've highlighted, that he's so clinical.
Totally.
He's so clinical. So he's got 2 options. Then leaves it in the hands of the gods and hopes for some bad luck for Oscar, or he's got to sort of force the issue himself with the equipment that he's got.
Yep, we'll just have to see where that goes.
But I feel desperately sorry for Lando. I mean,
I was devastated.
You don't see an engine blowout nearly as much as you used to. You could, way back in the 90s, you could almost guarantee at least one a race of somebody throwing some chunks of metal out the back or half a gearbox down the straight. But they're just so super reliable these days that it's a real shame. It's not what you want to see, and feel sorry for him.
I'm not fully up to date with the exact rules and regulations of Formula One, because there's a lot of them, and this is the Zero Credentials F1 podcast. So we're just saying random shit, really.
Yeah.
But what it seemed like the stewards had been smoking something yesterday, because
wow.
What I think let's start with. I've got a few racing incidents marked down here, but let's start with Charles's overtake on George, because that was entertaining as fuck.
It was. It was.
But
there's elbows and there's elbows, and
it was funny because Crofty on commentary, Crofty and Karoon obviously got super excited about it.
Yeah.
And
what a fantastic pass!
Brilliant pass. And you're thinking, where's Martin Brundle when you need him? Just to say, nah, Crofty, You can't overtake on the gravel, and then come back onto the track and smash into your opponent.
But then they were trying to justify it, saying, "Well, yeah, he was off the track. He was the other side of the white line on the gravel, but he hadn't overtaken him at that point." And you're like, "Well, that doesn't really matter."
Talking about the entitlement to racing room, it's like no, but like Charles was never ahead. He was driving angry already because
it was a chicane. Like there was literally one line through a chicane, and you can't expect George to leave a full car's width on an apex at a chicane. You can't.
He's got no right. He's got no right to be there.
Everyone goes, yeah, exactly. Everyone goes line astern through a chicane, and then he tries somewhere else.
We're still getting some dodgy audio from your little echoey.
Is it doing it again?
Yeah, little echoey audio.
Any better? Any better?
Yeah, that is better. I'm not editing. I edited it out last time, but I'm not editing out this time.
Nah.
I'm just going to post this as it records now.
You can take my echoes. I'll leave them.
I mean, I think by the time they got to the sky pad and Karun had another look at it, he was like, yeah, no, he's off the track. But I actually don't know what the outcome of that was. It seemed during the race that it was absolutely nothing. Is there a post-race investigation over that, or has that happened?
I suspect there would have been had Charles finished the race, but I think they just sort of left it. Because I'm not sure there's something that could, as a racing incident, there's not something that could take forward to a future round, and I think he would have got a 5 or 10 second penalty eventually, although they seem to ignore that one.
So that absolutely wild shit that Charles was pulling, that seemed to be okay. We then had a coming together between Carlos Sainz and Liam Lawson that seemed like a racing incident, where you're kind of thinking, yeah, they've got side by side. It was a little bit aggressive from Liam Lawson, unlucky for Carlos. And then they stick a 10-second penalty on Carlos or whatever it was. I think it was 10 seconds, wasn't it?
Yeah, 10-second penalty for causing an incident.
What is
that? I think they panicked. They maybe saw it as a 50-50 and thought, well, somebody's done something. But the rules are the rules. But in the benefit of hindsight, could they have done a 5-second or anything similar? It just seemed very heavy-handed for what the incident was. It didn't really read the race as it occurred. I think Carlos did have a bit of understeer and just it did drift into him, but it has the potential to ruin a guy's race with something so ridiculous. I didn't necessarily see it Carlos's way when he was saying this guy. Yeah. It was definitely not, in my view, it was definitely not Lawson's fault, but it wasn't so much as to justify so harsh a penalty.
It just felt to me like it was I think James Vowles said it as well, that it was a bit aggressive maybe from both of them. It felt like a racing incident, and to me, like a 10-second penalty for something like that, maybe it is, like I said, I don't know all the rules, but maybe that is consistent with the rules. But for me, that kind of takes some of the edge off the race. It just doesn't.
Well, I don't think Sainz even gained the place from it, did he?
No.
So had he gained the place, fair enough.
I did enjoy his radio message saying, like, let the stewards know that we're coming to see him.
Yeah, we must go speak to them afterwards.
Yeah.
He needs 15 minutes on a hill to chill out before he starts running to them.
And then I think on another occasion, maybe they'd got a grip of themselves, and the stewards then gave a penalty to Kimi Antonelli, which seemed justified by that point, when he basically took Charles Leclerc out, and Leclerc learned that karma is a bitch.
I mean, it was a very impressive smash, even though he just sort of clipped his rear wheel, and he understeered and sort of drifted out towards him.
When it happened, it was kind of
coming off fully. It was great.
It was a classic bit of Formula One footage of a car spinning out and bouncing around a bit. Like, especially because it's on that banked corner as well, where he's kind of spun around and then hit the barrier. That's going to be a bit of footage that gets used a lot, I think, because it looked really cool.
Yeah.
But like no one was. It actually wasn't that high in impact. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't. No one was ever in danger. It just looked really dramatic and exciting.
Yeah. Just because he spun him out and the banking exacerbated it. But you could tell, I think, from Charles leaving the pits and Kimi coming along on turn one, that Kimi, just his demeanour in those few seconds before the crash was, nah, you're not having this.
Yeah.
You are not having this, pal. So he did just banzai it into the ball.
They always bring it up, the Ayrton Senna quote of like, if you see a gap and you don't go for it, you're not a racing driver.
Yeah,
when you saw Kimi Antonelli's onboard footage going into that banked turn, there was a gap.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like there was absolutely a gap, but it just, because I mean, maybe he was expecting a little bit more assistance from the banking, but he just understeered, didn't he? And understeered straight into Charles, spun him out, got himself a puncture. And
it's funny because even in a quarter of a second, his mindset have gone from I've got this to like a slow motion, just drift. You're going, fuck. And his woes continue, don't they? It's really a shame to see, especially when you've got, as we'll talk about shortly, you've got other rookies performing beautifully, and he's absolutely
just another problem in Antonelli's season that just hasn't taken off. And meanwhile, George Russell is continuing to score points,
fantastic,
finishing the top 5 in almost every race.
He lamented his own race yesterday, and he said he drove poorly, some bad decisions, the car wasn't feeling great, and just had a really shocking race.
George did.
George did, in the post-race interviews. But he said he's just really, really lucky and happy to have got fourth because that's the way the race panned out. He said he shouldn't have let Charles by, or Charles should have been punished to give back the place. And he was just rather dissatisfied with the entire day, I think. He said he got some damage from that, which
he did.
There was nice bits of floor coming off left, right, and centre. But
I did enjoy his radio message when they asked him to swap cars and let Antonelli in front of him, and he was just like, "What's that now? What are you saying?" I quite enjoyed that.
Why? But he was. But after that incident, he said he was losing a second a lap after the Charles knock. Shows you how much the aero brings, doesn't it? Yeah,
but it also shows what the kind of, in that instance, the stewards have let the race down. Do you know what I mean? Because George definitely did nothing wrong in that incident.
Correct.
And he's come off worse for it. So anyway, let's have a look. I had a couple of other racing incidents that not necessarily involving the stewards. One was Max Verstappen at the start of the race. I mean, that guy is by far still the best driver on the grid.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about it. Full send into turn 3. Was it turn 2 after turn 3? Wasn't it?
And relatively cool tyres, and then the most wicked snap of oversteer that I've ever seen that he caught, and you just think. Then held the place in front of Lando. It's like he's a different level in a relatively poor car, certainly in terms of the current field and what the equipment that he has had in the past. And it's actually a joy to watch. It's actually a joy to watch.
Really is. It's so entertaining.
Yeah,
isn't it?
He's really, really impressive, and to get a second step on the podium yesterday, bravo, because everyone had written off anyone other than McLaren, and he held his own.
I think it's one of those times when people will say he's lucky to get second. I say bullshit.
Yeah, he earned that.
Obviously, Lando breaking down has elevated him up to second, but he was there. He was
but
there.
He had to put himself in that position to benefit from that. Yeah,
absolutely. And one of the things that really stood out for me with that incident at the start, where he's just done Lando again, was when you saw his onboard footage, what looked like this wild snap of oversteer on offboard when you saw it from the helicopter or whatever, he was so calm. It looked on board. It just looked calm and smooth.
It wasn't a nerve and tense snap back, was it? It was
just like like he'd obviously felt it in his arse a lot earlier than we saw it on the footage. He's just it was just so. It wasn't even fast, was it? It wasn't like he's like fighting the car at that point.
You can see a certain tension in people's bodies when they're caught and they're like their heart's going. There was none of that there. He was absolutely ice cold. And the more I see Max, and particularly where he's the biggest threat for me, regardless of the strength of his car, is at the start. He's always been an absolute master of the start because I still think a lot of where Lando and maybe Oscar go at the moment is they're sort of stuck in the mindset that the racing line is the fastest way to get around this track, no matter what. And Max perhaps rightly realises that in the first lap, none of that matters. It's the fastest person around those first few corners. And if I'm going to eat a little bit of tyres to get that nice, beautiful, clean, fresh air on my front wing, then I'll do it. And he will take seemingly any line that he feels will get him the best result. And even when he came back on, you want to see a bit more of the rest of the field, like Lando sort of squeezing him, because it's for him to come back on safely, not for them to safely let him back on.
Yeah.
And Lando could have pushed a little bit further to the right, hit the apex and keep in his line, and then give Max something to think about. But no, they seem to make space for him.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, unbelievably good. We definitely haven't seen the end of Max Verstappen winning championships.
No way.
I don't think. Let's talk about Isack Hadjar briefly. Is he the next big thing? He got a podium. He got third. He was elevated up to third. Again, not necessarily luck. Obviously, Lando had to crash for him to get onto the podium, but he'd held fourth the whole race.
Yeah.
And he was the Mercedes couldn't get past him, Charles couldn't get past him, and I just thought he had a brilliant race, and he looked controlled. He was there the whole time. The strategy was good. They pitted under the safety car at the right time, and he was just rolling around with the leaders like he belonged there, wasn't he? I thought
potentially more than that, because thinking it through, yes, he held fourth seemingly with ease, which is no mean feat with the cars behind you. And certainly Charles Leclerc in I'm getting by in any credible way mode. But what was his option moving forward? He can't catch the McLarens. Could he have? I think he could have had the pace to catch Max, but as the sister team would have been told or certainly understood that you've got to hold position. He had nowhere else to go. That was literally first as far as he was concerned. That was the best place he could have achieved. There's no way that the team's going to let him go ahead and race Max, even if he had the pace. And I suspect, because he held off the couple behind him with relative ease, I suspect he did have some pace in there.
I think you're right. I was wondering whether he'd get up there with Max, but I think at the end of the race in Parc Ferme, the helmet forced his way to the front as usual, didn't he? And he was there, letting his presence be felt.
I worry about Hadjar, because what's next step on his career journey? Is it the ghost seat? The ghost seat.
There's already a lot of talk about it, isn't there? There's already.
What would you do if you were him? Would you say, well, thanks but no thanks? I'm doing pretty well. I'm getting the eye of competitor teams, or was he brought through the Red Bull machine from a young age?
He seems to be more of a Max Verstappen style driver, though, doesn't he? I think he's got more natural talent than some of the people that have suffered.
I've been hugely impressed with what he's done.
Yeah, brilliant.
A rookie season to do that.
Yeah, rookie season on the podium. I think he's third or fourth youngest driver ever to be on the podium.
Yeah.
Impressive talent, exciting one for the future, I think. Even though he's already getting podiums,
so he's going places.
Exciting talent for the present, maybe. And then I think we've got to talk about Ferrari.
Oof.
And I sort of said to you and Whites on the text during the race that maybe it's a good time to hit rock bottom right before Monza. However, the benefit of filming this a little bit later is that we now know that Lewis Hamilton has been hit with a 5-grid penalty for driving a bit too fast under double waved yellows on the lap to the grid. So, I mean, I find that frustrating because maybe he would have been punished had he stayed in the race.
Yeah.
Although they'd already said they were going to investigate it afterwards, hadn't they? So, but it's taken, again, it's so frustrating as a fan when you get these penalties that have taken some of the spice out of the next race, because I was going to text you and Whites during the race after Hamilton had gone out saying, like, I don't care what you say, Lewis Hamilton is going to be my pole and race winner for the next race.
Yeah.
Because it's Monza. Ferrari build their whole season around Monza pretty much.
Yeah, they do.
And now he's going to be 5th at best, isn't he, on the grid? Which, I mean, it could still make it exciting, but
it's a shocker that they didn't invest. I think there's something to be said about they could have investigated that in the race and made sure the penalty was served in the race, because it just that was before the race started. That was before the race started.
That should be a policy. I don't like the penalties that are carried over. I think get it out the way in that race, because then you can accept it as a fan. You just say, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, rather than an annoying steward's decision taking things into the next race.
Yeah, I mean, it's not gaining an advantage, or I mean, it's a hand slap. Some of the footage that I've seen so far, it's one of those marginal ones where it was maybe coming up parallel to him. But to be fair, it comes on the dash, it comes everywhere else.
I think it's one of those sort of safety regulations that's been breached, and there's an automatic penalty, isn't it? Which it's fair enough, but I just
serve it in the race.
Yeah. Anyway,
well, actually, the next race was the race he was in. It's just they couldn't be asked to look at it until after the race.
He's then gone and uncharacteristically crashed out of the race fairly early on. I mean, Jacques Villeneuve, I think, is a brilliant pundit to have on. He says it how it is, and to be fair, he was sort of saying that that can happen sometimes. He did the same thing he did on all the other laps. This time, it was maybe a little bit damp, a little bit greasy from the spitting rain. Then it just snapped on him. He'd kind of recovered it, but then the barrier was there. So it was unfortunate. It took him out the race. I was sad to see him go.
One of those things, but his rate of mistakes are so infinitesimally small in that regard. Yeah. That you can forgive him for one of those things. And it was, the rain had just about started. He got up onto the paint more than he would have done before. A little bit more greasy feeling, zero grip, bit of snap. And as you say, yes, he did just about recover it, but then just booted one of his corners off. Unlucky day at the races for Lewis, but I'm sure he'll be excited for Monza, even though he's carrying this penalty with him. But and if you put him down for pole, and he gets pole, Addy, and before he gets his grid drop, I will accept the points for pole.
What? So I can still choose Lewis for pole position.
Yeah, and even if he finishes first or gets the best time in quali, you can have the points regardless of whether he's ducked.
Okay.
I only say that because he's not having a great season, and I don't expect him to be on pole.
And then Charles, as obviously we've talked about already, crashed out. For me, it feels like Ferrari have pretty much hit rock bottom, although there probably is further that they can sink, because if they have a bad time in Monza, my goodness, it's not good.
Well, we debated when we were on the text in the actual race that it was odd that Ferrari just had bad luck and not another set of incidents of self-harm. And you rightly noted that Ferrari did randomly bring in Charles into the pits to have a go and lose him a couple of places, track position, to give him softs to get back out again. And that's what ultimately caused the incident. And that's fair enough.
It was self-inflicted.
Yeah. But in terms of rock bottom, I mean, by definition, 2 DNFs for the team is a bad place to.
I think they're still second. They're still second, though, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure they'll finish second, which on paper, when we look back, I'll say it looks like half decent year. McLaren were dominant and Ferrari came second, and there's still some teams further down the field that are no mugs. So yeah,
I think if I was in charge of Ferrari, if I was John Elkann, I'd just be thinking, let's just take a moment here and be calm, because this season is a McLaren dominant one. We're doing all right compared to everybody else. Let's double down, refocus, and find a way with the new regs next year to be right up there at the top again. And we're building. I think their season is obviously now, I mean, Lewis has talked about it, their season is building towards next year. And that's the focus. But still, in the meantime, you don't want to be just falling backwards. You still want to be winning races, don't you?
It's always, I've always found this fascinating, because performance is relative, isn't it? So had McLaren not absolutely nailed it with the car design that they've got, and the Ferraris were, the same Ferrari could win races if everyone else is a little bit worse.
Yeah.
So in that instance, is that where, would Lewis, instead of coming out the car going, it's an absolute dog, would he be coming out going, thanks for building me a fantastic car, this is absolutely brilliant? It all boils down to relative performance, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's totally true, because the Red Bull that Max Verstappen is driving now is not worse than the car that won him 2 or 3 championships in a row.
It's just everybody else has progressed a little bit further. So, and I'm sure McLaren have got the gripes in the car when they're going, oh God, I can't get grip, I can't get, the back end's flying all over the place. It's just the drivers see that purely through the prism of where they are relative to the rest of the field. That's
the beauty of Formula One.
Yeah,
with it being a team sport, with the tech and the building of the cars. It's part of what the engineering. It's part of what we love about Formula One.
That's it. You and I getting one of those Ferraris is the best car we've ever done. Notwithstanding the fact that we'd kill ourselves in the process, but that would be the best vehicle we've ever been in our entire lives.
Yeah, absolutely. That's true of like the Haas as well.
True. Yeah.
Right. Let's. One thing I'm not happy about is what's happened in our predictions competition. Let's bring up the predictions for this race. At
one point in the race, I still had a decent chance of some really good points. That went away.
I won't read through them because it's just not necessary at this point. But if you want to hear what our predictions were, if you're on the podcast, then go ahead and listen to the previous episode. But if you're watching on YouTube, it's up on the screen now, and you can see what we have predicted for this race. This was the score before this race. Me on 14 points. White, our behind-the-scenes producer / special talent, is on 13 points, and Nelly, you're lagging on 8.
I can't be arsed.
You're almost at risk of being lapped at this point.
Oh, no.
But following this race, moving up into first position is White's. So me and you have scored 0 points on the Dutch Grand Prix, whilst White's has taken 3 delicious points from backing Oscar Piastri for pole and for the race win. He's picked up 3 points because you get 1 for pole and 2 for the win. And he's moved up into first place. So well done to White, because he was lagging at one point.
He's a silent assassin. He's doing the George Russell game, just constantly chipping away, constantly accruing points, whereas we're going sort of like all in with our chips and then shitting out pretty badly, to be fair. But no, well done. Well deserved as well.
I don't want to dox anything about Whites, but I think it's fair to say that he likes to be the best at things.
This
quietly.
Is true.
Like
this
you said, a silent assassin that just quietly works away in the background until he's the best at something. And that seems to be that seems to be what is.
And now he's currently the best at this.
And usually, once he gets a grip of the lead, he doesn't give it up.
No, that's not coming back. That's not coming back.
Yeah, so well done to Whites. We'll see what
That's why he doesn't show his face, because he has some credentials. And he's a credible force.
I wanted to let's finish off this episode with some notable mentions and give a little bit of love to some of the other drivers on the grid. Starting off, I think, with Alex Albon. Yet again, he's been in the notable mentions quite a few times. I actually didn't see during the race how he jumped up so many places, but I watched a little bit of the highlights this morning to see his start. He benefited, I think, from Bortoleto getting a terrible start. Yeah. So he's quickly dodged around him. And basically what he did was then just go around the outside of turn 1 and then turn 3, which is turn 3 the banked corner, maybe turn 4. He's gone round the outside of turn 1 and then out round the outside of that banked corner and basically just made up 5 places and was then alongside Carlos Sainz, which is just a fantastic start. And he's had pace all weekend. He just got a bit unlucky in quali with his tyre temperatures. And then he's just had a solid race and finished yet again in 5th. I think that's
but once he got up there, he wasn't threatened. And I think he was, he might have had a little bit of luck with safety cars and whatnot, but so what? The lad deserves it. So no, well done, Alex.
Yeah, brilliant. I really enjoyed. I like Alex Albon a lot. I'd love to see him start to win races.
I agree.
Notable mention for Oliver Behrman, who started in the pit lane and then finished 6th. I think, was it?
I believe so. Let me see.
Let me double check. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 6th.
He did 6th,
having started from the pit lane. So that was an incredible achievement. He obviously benefited from the safety car at various points, but fantastic. And I think he's one of the rookies that's kind of been there and kind of had some ups and some downs, a little bit inconsistent, but it's a rookie season.
To do that
isn't
in
it?
Haas is really impressive,
and pick up a big haul of points for Haas. I think that's a really good achievement.
Well done to him. And one more notable achievement, if you'll indulge me, is my personal man crush. Started last on the grid before Ollie Behrman in the pits, and he'd had a dog of a weekend. The greatest driver in Canada in an Aston Martin is Lance Stroll. What a guy. What a performance. He got 7th from the back of the grid to 7th.
Credit where credit is due.
He made them build the car twice. No, 3 times. No, when they got there, then after he walled it, but at least he came home with some juicy points.
I think part of the success of Aston Martin, they were my other notable mention as well, was their brave or knowledgeable, I'm not sure, decision to switch onto the hard tyres when everyone else thought it was going to rain.
Yeah. They did that
and
early.
It never did really rain, did it? And they'd put the hard tyres on, and that because I think Lance Stroll was the first one to do that, wasn't he? And he benefited massively from that.
It started to make people think about one-stops, though. And at the time, I thought, that's crackers. That's a bad mistake, because I thought it'd be harder to, on a cooling track, when you're going to get a little bit of rain, it'll cool it further. To turn those hards on would have been quite difficult. But there's egg on my face. Yeah,
fun times for Lance Stroll. Alonso was funny as well on the radio, asking them to do something, and then they kind of did, and it benefited him. He was overtaking people at the end, and all round entertaining race. There's lots to talk about. I enjoyed it a lot, and I'm
it was a
excited
great
for
weekend.
Monza, which is coming up this weekend. So we don't even have to wait that long.
I know, I'm excited.
So we need to record a preview for Monza. Should we record and put that out on Wednesday, maybe?
Wednesday's good for me.
Cool. So yeah, you could look out for that on Wednesday. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Please like and subscribe. We're here as your race weekend companions. So yeah, we'll see you again very, very, very soon.
I don't know how to do one of these. What the fuck's that?
Is that the first time you've ever done one?
Clearly.
Oh, the hand of the heart, or whatever it's called.
That's why I'm not involved in popular culture. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody. Bye.